I'm Jeremy. Today's day 365 of reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Let's get started. Guys, it's officially been a year. Yippee! Update on the books, on the other videos. They might be coming soon. By the way, my birthday's in 2 days. Let's go. We are currently on page 111. Let's go. The tapestry looked immensely old. It was faded and looked as though doxies had knotted in places. Nevertheless, the golden thread with which it was embroidered still glinted brightly enough to show them a sprawling family tree dating back, as far as Harry could tell, to the Middle Ages. Large words at the very top of the tapestry read, "The noble and most ancient house of Black. Toujours I don't know." "You're not on here," said Harry after scanning the bottom of the tree closely. "I used to be there," said Cyrus, pointing at a small, round, charred hole in the tapestry, rather like a cigarette burn. "My sweet old mother blasted me off after I ran away from home." Creatures quite fond of muttering the story under his breath. "You ran away from home?" "When I was 16, said Cyrus. "I'd had enough." "Where did you go?" said Harry, staring at him. "Your dad's place," said Cyrus. "Your grandparents were really good about it. They sort of adopted me as a second son. Yeah, I camped out at your dad's during the school holidays, and then when I was 17, I got a place of my own. My uncle Alfred had left me a decent bit of gold. He's been wiped off here too. That's probably why. Anyway, after that, I looked after myself. I was always welcome at Mr. and Mrs. Potter's for Sunday's lunch, though." "But why did you leave?" Cyrus smiled bitterly and ran a hand through his long, unkempt hair. "Because I hated the whole lot of them. My parents, with their pure blood mania, convinced that to be a Black made you practically royal. My idiot brother, soft enough to believe them. That's him." Cyrus jabbed a finger at the very bottom of the tree, at the name Regulus Black. A date of death, some 15 years previously, followed the date of birth. "He was younger than me," said Cyrus, "and a much better son, as I was constantly reminded." "But he died?" said Harry. "Yeah," said Cyrus. "Stupid idiot. He joined the Death Eaters." "You're kidding." "Come on, Harry. Haven't you seen enough of this house to tell what kind of wizards my family were?" said Cyrus testily. Were your parents Death Eaters as well?" No, but believe me, they thought Voldemort had the right idea. They were all for purification of the wizarding race, getting rid of Muggleborns and having purebloods in charge. They weren't alone either. There were quite a few people, before Voldemort showed his true colors, who thought he had the right idea about things. They got cold feet when they saw what he was prepared to do to get power, though. But I bet my parents thought Regulus was a right little hero for joining up at first. "Was he killed by an Auror?" Harry asked tentatively. "Oh, no," said Cyrus. "No, he was murdered by Voldemort. Or on Voldemort's orders, more likely. I doubt Regulus was ever important enough to be killed by Voldemort in person. From what I have found out, after he died, he got in so far that panicked about what he was being asked to do and tried to back out. Well, you don't just hand in your resignation to Voldemort. It's a lifetime of service or death." "Lunch," said Mrs. Weasley's voice. She was holding her wand high in front of her, balancing a huge tray loaded with sandwiches and cake on its tip. She was very red in the face and still looked angry. The others moved over to her, eager for some food, but Harry remained with Cyrus, who bent closer to the tapestry. "I haven't looked at this for years. There's Phineas Nigellus. Nigellus, maybe? My great-great-grandfather, see? Least popular headmaster of the Hogwarts ever had. And Araminta melliflua, cousin of my mother's, tried to force through a ministry bill to make muggle hunting legal, and dear Aunt Elladora, she started the family tradition of beheading house elves when they got too old to carry tea trays. Of course, any time the family produced someone halfway decent, they were disowned. I see Tonks is on here. Maybe that's why Creature won't take orders from her. He's supposed to do whatever anyone in the family asks him. You and Tonks are related? Harry asked, surprised. Oh yeah, her mother, Andromeda, was my favorite cousin, said Cyrus, examining the tapestry closely. No, Andromeda's not on here either. Look. He pointed to another small round burn mark between two names, Bellatrix and Narcissa. Andromeda's sisters are still here because they made lovely, respectable, pure-blood marriages, but Andromeda married a muggle-born Ted Tonks. So, Cyrus mind blasting the tapestry with the wand and laughed sourly. Harry, however, did not laugh. He was too busy staring at the names to the right of Andromeda's burn mark. A double line of gold embroidery linked Narcissa Black with Lucius Malfoy, and a single vertical golden line from their names led to Draco Malfoy. You're related to the Malfoys! The pure-blood families are all interrelated, said Cyrus. If you're only going to let your sons and daughters marry purebloods, your choice is very limited. There are hardly any of us left. Molly and I are cousins by marriage, and Arthur is something like my second cousin, once removed. But there's no point in looking for them on here. If ever a family was a bunch of blood traitors, it's the Weasleys. But Harry was now looking at the name to the left of Andromeda's burn, Bellatrix Black, which was connected by a double line to Rodolphus Lestrange. Lestrange, Harry said aloud. The name had stirred something in his memory. He knew it from somewhere, but for a moment he couldn't think where, though it gave him an odd, creeping sensation in the pit of his stomach. They're in Azkaban, said Cyrus shortly. Harry looked at him curiously. Bellatrix and her husband, Rodolphus, came in with Barty Crouch Jr., said Cyrus in the same brusque voice. Rodolphus's brother, Rabastin, was with them too, and Harry remembered he had seen Bellatrix Lestrange inside of Dumbledore's pensieve, the strange device in which thoughts and memories could be stored. A tall, dark woman with heavy-lidded eyes who had stood at her trial and proclaimed her continuing allegiance to Lord Voldemort. Her pride that she had tried to find him after his downfall, and her conviction that she would one day be rewarded for her loyalty. You never said she was your... Doesn't matter if she's my cousin, snapped Cyrus. As far as I'm concerned, they're not my family. She's certainly not my family. I haven't seen her since I was your age, unless you count a glimpse of her coming into Azkaban. Do you think I'm proud of having relatives like her? Sorry, said Harry quickly. I didn't mean... I was just surprised, that's all. It doesn't matter. Don't apologize, Cyrus mumbled at once. He turned away from the tapestry, his hands deep in his pockets. I don't like being back here, he said, staring across the drawing room. Never thought I'd be stuck in this house again. Harry understood completely. He knew what he would feel if... Yeah, I'm not going to finish. Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to read page 115. Bookmark, cuz. Peace out.